Well, good morning. I wasn't planning on doing this kind of video this morning, but unexpected changes in plans is the title, and that should be self-explanatory. Yesterday, I was supposed to meet with a man who has an idea about a way to handle financial matters without cabal interference. One of my friends had set it up for late morning or early afternoon. However, I could not reach her to confirm until it was too late to proceed. That meeting is supposed to happen later this morning. Today I thought the ambassador and I would do another conversation as my video for tomorrow. Well, that has also been postponed, most likely until tomorrow morning. This seems to be the way some things are going for me lately. Perhaps the universe is helping me to be more flexible and spontaneous. I will go with the flow. It was only about half an hour ago that the ambassador and I finally ended our conversation, in which it was confirmed that he would not be able to do a video today because he wants to wait until a certain thing happens somewhere else in the world before he and I do that video. And I understand the reasons, and when we do the video, you will understand it as well. But the situation with my friend setting up this meeting, which was set up, what, Monday, I think she set it up with me for tomorrow, or for yesterday. I even get my yesterdays and tomorrows mixed up. And I hadn't heard back from her any changes in plans. We had tentatively set it up for either late morning, since the person was traveling from out of the area. It was either going to be late morning or early afternoon. And that's what I had agreed to. Well, by going on mid-afternoon, I hadn't heard from her. I had placed 3 phone calls with her in the morning, none of which she responded to. I got only voicemail each time. And by the time I heard from her, this individual had been running very late, had a family emergency. But I had sent her an email and I said, look, forget it. Just forget it. I'm not going to meet with this person. Just forget it. That's before I knew any of the details. All I knew is that they weren't considerate enough of me to even respond for confirmation. And I had worked my day so that I had a window of opportunity in which I could meet with this gentleman, whom I didn't even at the time know his name. Anyway, that situation rolled over, and I had to be so flexible this morning. See, normally when I do a video, most of the time when I'm doing one of my talks, I will meditate at least an hour beforehand and try to get my thoughts together and figure out a title and a blurb. Well, half an hour before I started, I didn't have a title. I didn't have a blurb. Didn't even have an idea of what I would talk about, because I wasn't thinking that I was going to need to have an idea what I was going to talk about. It was going to be a conversation with the ambassador. And again, that will happen tomorrow. So I've had to learn a level of flexibility. And I do realize, as I reflected on this after I came up with the title and stuff, that I do tend somewhat to be very planned in my activities. I don't, except for dealing with the kids sometimes, they force some spontaneity out of me, especially my grandson. I mean, he's a character, and he goes through phases where he, if I go out of the room, I mean, what are you doing, Poppy? What are you doing? Going into the refrigerator. What are you getting? And so that, with kids are always spontaneous. Me, I'm not. I like things to be sort of planned and to know ahead of time what I'm doing. And I've had to take a look at that. And it's probably something that I'm going to be meditating on even after I complete this video, because I would like to have more spontaneity in my life. Some of that would come by being in a relationship, which is a subject that I didn't even know I was going to mention. Uh, but I've pretty much given up on the idea of even having a relationship. It's almost gonna have to be a miracle at this point. I think any good relationship is almost always going to be a miracle. Um, yeah. And it's funny. As I said, I go with the flow, uh, and I have interactions with a lot of people, and I have some really good friends that I converse with that I'm able to bounce things off of, and I so appreciate that. And uh, of course, the ambassador has become one of them. He's the male that I bounce things off of. I don't usually bounce things off of other males very often. Aristo once a week, the ambassador every day, and then I have a few female friends that I converse with on a fairly regular basis. And I appreciate that the connections that I have with those people, but pretty much I'm still a loner. The things that I do are still pretty much uh, according to a routine, a schedule of doing the community calendar, which I've been doing since 1998, and uh, of course answering emails and sending out birthday greetings and some of the things that are just routine for me. They're part of my routine, including talking with the ambassador. Although we don't spend nearly as much time anymore as we did there for quite a while, because we've gotten to know each other, and we don't need to talk for 2 or 3 hours at a time like we did when I was learning some things, shall we say. Now we are able to get to some of the points that we need to talk about in a much shorter time frame. I'm rambling, and I realize that I'm rambling, and perhaps I'm not saying anything that's of value to anybody except sharing myself. Now, it's interesting that one of my acquaintances sent me an email and said that one of my son's friends thinks I'm two-faced. And actually, the initial thing was that my son thought I was two-faced. But then there was a correction. No, it's not your son. It's one of the people that's one of his friends that plays in the band with him. So I chuckle at that because, maybe my friend who I canceled the meeting yesterday, maybe she thought I was being two-faced when I had agreed to meet with this person who's coming in from out of town. And then I say, well, I'm not going to meet with him. Well, I can't meet with him at night because he was going to meet his intention was to meet in my home. Well, I have 3 grandkids that are getting ready for school for the next day and going through their routine. Having a meeting here in my home at night would not be the most conducive. First of all, I would not want to have it here in my private chambers, so to speak. I would rather have it at the dining room table or in the living room or something like that. Not necessarily here in my office. But in any case, where was I going? In any case, the judgment that I'd be two-faced, that I would be changing my mind. Well, yeah, I change my mind on things, and I can be a stickler because I don't like it when people try to force me into change too fast. That's not something I flow easily with, and maybe that's one of the lessons that I need to learn, and why I'm doing this video. Uh, it's not going to be one of my better videos because it was not planned. It was very, very spontaneous. Uh, there was no email that triggered it or anything like that. I don't care what people's opinion of me is most of the time. I mean, it has to be somebody that really matters to me. And when I say really matters, it has to be somebody that I know, that I have an intimate relationship with. Then I might take it more seriously if they give an opinion than somebody that I don't even know, or somebody telling me that somebody that I do know has an opinion of me, and that person hasn't told me that themselves. Especially when I don't even know the person very well that's giving me the information. So I ponder all these things, and I'm a very introspective person. I weigh things, and I don't want anybody to. I don't like it when people have bad opinions of me, because I try to live by integrity. I try to live by certain principles and certain values that I hold sacrosanct. I mean, those are things that I define myself by, and they're obviously important to me, or I wouldn't have those self definitions. Anyway, I do try to do my best, and I am consistent. And I am doing a video today, even though I didn't know I was going to be doing one just talking from my heart. I thought the ambassador, as I said, was going to be doing most of the talking. And it's going to be interesting, our next conversation. It might be a little longer than normal because there are different things that we've been talking about that have relevance to what we may be sharing together for you to hear. Because there are things going on in the world that are very important. By the way, he did tell me that my last video, Institutions of Higher Lying, he liked that video a lot, and so did the Red Dragon. The Red Dragon doesn't get to hear all of my videos, but the ambassador made sure that he heard that one and wanted me to know that both he and the Red Dragon really appreciated that video, Institutions of Higher Lying. So I think I'm going to make it a very, very short video today. I'm not going to keep talking just to the sake of filling up a 15 to 20 minute slot, which is what I usually do. I'm going to let it go. So thank you for listening, and look forward tomorrow to the next installment with the ambassador. Namaste.